Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here. Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Hope you are all doing well. Welcome to Reganelite's Viewpoint, episode 109, where we cover some of the latest news from the UK. We've got 6 stories we're going to be looking at today, as well as 2 funny videos to go along with the show. The date and time for this live stream is on the 21st, Monday the 21st of July 2025 at 8 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on youtube.com/Reganelite, and we're also live streaming on twitch.tv/Reganelite1. Yes, Reganelite1 on there. So if you're on either platforms, feel free to say hi and say hello. Don't be shy. It's totally all right. And just like Stephen Banker said hi, and Jao there, one of our moderators, also said hi there. So hope you guys are all doing well. Good evening, all peeps. Yes. And good to see you guys. Hope you guys are all doing well. And guys, just a reminder, check out Jal's YouTube channel. Link for it is in the description, along with some amazing other YouTubers if you guys want to have a look as well down in the description as well, just for reference there. Right, so I want to start, guys, with this first story here. I've got double back-to-back, actually, on from Sky Blue News. So the first one, I mean, unfortunately, we are going to be talking about the frog, not once but twice, I'm afraid, guys. But it has to be done. But this one here first, guys, is from Sky News, and it's about this interesting one here from them. So £104 billion of the water industry investment will come from bill payers, the Environment Secretary has conceded. So the government has generated £104 billion in private investment, and industry has already started spending it. The money will be recouped over the coming decades. Decades? It's going to take decades? Are you just joking right now? No worries, Mr. E. Thanks for saying hello. Much appreciated. Hope you are doing well, in all seriousness. It's fine if you can't always be here. Let's appreciate you popping in nonetheless. Yeah, £104 billion in investment. Now, I think it's fair to say, though, and I don't really see this too much as a gotcha question, because we kind of knew when the water bills were being raised that they said that the reason, because they were very much not keen on it, but the argument is that the money raised from increasing our water bills will go towards investment. It will go towards infrastructure projects. Will go towards in building reservoirs, actually go towards improving our water structure. That was kind of what we already knew. But I hope this does not mean that we're going to have another increase in water bills. I think the bills are going to be going all the way up till 2030, I believe. And my hope is that they freeze then, or perhaps possibly they may freeze them in between those times. I'm really hoping so. Nonetheless, there, it's so frustrating when you, because the thing is that people are being seen an increase in their water bills, and what have people gotten back in return? They've not gotten anything in return. For some people, their water hasn't worked at all in parts of England. And it's outrageous. I still think it's outrageous to this day that there were parts of England where the water was not working, and they're still paying their water bills as normal. It's just ridiculous. If your water is not working, you shouldn't be paying a single penny. But the fact that we even have this issue is insane as well. Who's enjoying the tune? The tune? What tune is there? Is there a tune that I don't know about? So let me have a read a bit more into this, you guys. So Steve Rees has conceded that the bulk of the £104 billion of water industry investment in which he boasted Labour has attracted since coming to office will come from bill payers. So in an interview with Sky News, the Environment Secretary sought to blame the previous Tory government for a string of high-profile investors walking away from the sector over the last year. Now, Mr. Reid does not accept claims that further threats to jail water bosses and promises to curb price rises have deterred investment. Instead, he told Sky News that by bringing in the £104 billion of private sector investment that we secured at the end of last year, we can make sure that investment is going to support the industry. But when challenged that the £104 billion was total expenditure was not total investment, and that bill payers would pay back this expenditure over the coming decades, Mr. Reid conceded that this was right and that the money ultimately comes from bill payers. Of course it does. You don't put money you don't invest in something without getting something back in return. That's what all these investors want. They want something in return. So basically, bill payers are going to be paying back in return. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, the money will come straight. The money comes in from investors up front so that we can do the spending straight away, he said. Yeah, but basically we have to pay that back. We, the taxpayer. Over decades, the investors got a modest return from the bills that customers are paying. And that's how investment works. Some investors have warned they do not think it is viable to fund the UK's water sector because of the hostile political tone of ministers and a lack of certainty. Ministers have said that the government does not want to renationalise water, as it would mean years of legal wrangling and cost a lot of money. Well, I'm sorry, but like I think the now I did talk a little bit about this in a Patreon video, but you know, I do think that nationalisation is the only way out of this. Now, I can understand if the government are hesitant to do this, and I understand that there's a huge amount of debt sitting here, but if we generally want to get out of this situation, I really do think we need to renationalise it, and I honestly think we need to bite the bullet on the debts. I really do think we need to bite the bullets on the debts. I know it sounds bad, but I would rather start working on a financial system to repay the debts with those who have them, and then once coordinate with them, and then it wouldn't be all in one go. Of course, it would be installed payments over a certain number of years that the government has to pay back, because we pay back debts everywhere all the time. This would just be another one. And if you could just like pay it back like over 30 years or something, like these debts that we have in our water industries, like a little bit back every 30 years or so, every 30 years, like you know, here and there. Can we not do that? Is that not possible? I would have thought that something like that, because obviously you can't pay it straight back in advance. Just renationalise the water industry for fuck's sake, says Mithril. Yeah, I know. Good evening, buddy. Hope you're doing well there, and the rest of you guys. Oh, the tune of the intro. Oh yeah, it's a great tune. What's it called? Let me. I think I've got it saved. I've got it saved on the. I've got it saved on the front there. It's called "Dream It," TrackTribe. If you guys want to look for that, if you're looking for that song, it's called "Dream It" by TrackTribe. It's on the descriptions there. Ministers have said the government does not want to renationalise it. Yeah, because they're pussies. Labour has launched a record 81 criminal investigations into water companies over sewage dumping since winning the election last year. Water company bosses could be jailed for up to 5 years, and the companies fined hundreds of millions of pounds if they found guilty. Mr. Reid's committed to not interfering with those precautions, saying it would be highly inappropriate for any minister to do so. He rejected suggestions ministers will be pressured to ensure water bosses do not serve jail time, as this will deter investors. It's a judicial process. It will be highly inappropriate for any ministerial interference in the process, Mr. Reid said. They will work their way through the court system as they should do, and ministers will decide on sanctions after. Do we honestly think that any water bosses are going to face jail? I don't think they will. I don't think they will, if I'm honest. But I do hope the threat of it kind of does play in our favour. But I really am not holding my. I literally mean this. I'm not holding my breath on this actually working out. I really am not. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of things that they are doing. Sounds really, really good in terms of like they're pushing investment in now to try and get things up to scratch, and I welcome that. I do welcome obviously the investment, because we do need investment in the water industry. We really, really do. I'm just frustrated that obviously means that we're going to have to be paying all this back at later on. It's a case of the Labour government kind of getting things done now, going to take the credit for it, and then it'll be someone else's problems later on because Labour won't be in power forever. So whether that be the Greens, Reform, whatever party will be in the future, Conservative, whatever will be, some number will face jail as bankers after the same number will face jail after bankers after the 2008 crash. Yeah, a rounding zero, I believe. A rounding zero there. Right, so let's talk about Froggy, because I know everyone wants to hear what he has to say, because we just can't help ourselves, can we? Nigel Farage said he would send violent offenders to El Salvador under the crime crackdown. The Reform UK leader set out plans to cut crime by half in the first term of Parliament if party wins the next general election. This is nonsense. There is no way he could cut crime by half in the first term of Parliament. Like, you would have to literally... You would literally, like, what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to do? Hire the military? Call in the military to crack down on it? Because we don't have enough bobs as it is here. And this idea that you're going to send violent offenders to El Salvador. This is just Nigel Farage playing the Trump playbook here in the UK. And unfortunately, there are idiots out there who believe in this and think this is a good thing and whatnot. And it's just like, well, it's not. It's not a good idea. I don't approve of this idea, and I just think this is like this kind of rhetoric and language replicating Donald Trump is not helpful to anyone in any way, shape, or form. Do I think violent migrants in the UK should be sent back to their countries of origin? I do if we have an agreement with them. Do I think they should be sent to a country not of their origin? No, I don't think that's right at all. I know America has sent some violent criminals to South Sudan that aren't from Sudan, but sent them there to basically get rid of them, to essentially no longer be a problem for them, but they still sent them. I don't approve of it. They should be sent back to their country of origin. Yes, those who are committed the hastened and worst of crimes should be facing the rest of life in prison. But I don't like this concept, and I feel like this is being pushed more and more and more, that about sending foreign prisoners to any country to basically take them in. And I'm a bit scared that we're going to be heading into the next couple of years. We're going to be seeing certain countries, poor countries, are going to be offered huge amounts of money to build prisons to take immigrants in on behalf of whether it's America or the UK, or how long before other countries start following suit, instead of actually looking after their own prisoners in their own country. Are we going to get to a point where we start going to be paying African nations to store and home all the criminals that we don't want in our countries? Is that the direction that we are going now, in order to make our country perfect and safe and secure from criminals? Because I feel like that's the direction we are starting to head, which I really don't like this idea, guys. So Nigel Farage has said violent UK offenders could be jailed overseas under plans to cut crime by half. The Reform UK leader named El Salvador as a likely destination, though he said he has not held conversations with officials there, and multiple partners would be considered. El Salvador is home to the notorious mega prison, the Terrorism Confinement Center, the CECOT. In a speech on Law and Order on Monday, Mr. Farage said it is quite astonishing to keep a prisoner in a British prison, and it costs nearly £52,000 a year. You could send a child eaten for that price. So we can send some of the worst criminals overseas to serve their term. That means Ian Hesley goes to El Salvador. Well, our attitude is so be it. Hunsley is serving a life sentence for the murder of two 10-year-old girls, Holly Wells and Jessica Champions, in Soldham, Cambridgeshire in 2002. Look, I understand how people feel about criminals and violent criminals, and some of the most worst of them all. But I just feel like that once we start sending... even like he's talking about UK he's talking about UK offenders. So we're not even talking about foreign offenders. We're talking about British offenders here being sent to another country, paying another country to host them so that we don't host them here. This is the direction that they are going. I don't like that at all. I don't like the fact that we're sending people out of the country, sending them away. I'm just not comfortable with it. It feels wrong. I mean, I know we're talking about the most heinous of people, but it feels wrong. Longwood on the island of St. Helena should be a holiday home for, says Mr. E. Hi Pete's Music, hope you're doing well. Farage is deranged, he is due. Grandson's second birthday over the weekend, says Miffle. Oh, lovely. Hope your grandson has a wonderful birthday over the weekend. Really do. Yeah, I mean, I'm not personally comfortable about it. Asked if he has spoken to any members of the El Salvadoran government about his plans. Mr. Farage said He has not, but we do know they are quite happy to take American violent offenders. In March, the Trump administration deployed more than 130 alleged Venezuelan gang members to the CECOT, while the US president has also spoken of sending homegrown criminals to the Supermax facility. Yeah, they. I remember, if I recall, he basically pissed off the Venezuelan government, basically saying there are people. They're not basically they're not El Salvadorians. Can we have them back, please? Like send them back. Like this is. I think that's what they did. Is send them. I think they got sent back to El Salvador in the end. And my worry is because of what America is doing is that other countries are going to follow suit with this whole thing of we don't want to host we don't want to deal with, we don't want the most violent thuggy criminals in our countries anymore. So we're going to send them to you, and we're going to throw loads of money at it. Like this is what I'm worried about. I can just see I can see the whole country being turned into a giant prison, and its president or king is basically going to make tons of money off building prisons on behalf of other nations. Reform UK said it wanted to create 10,000 dynamic prison places overall by renting cells in third-party countries at the cost of $250 million per year. This would involve multiple partners, including El Salvador, according to a document outlining the plan in further detail. This will come alongside a number of policies aimed at cutting crime by half of Mr. Farage's party's win at the general election. You can't, like, here's the thing, like, this is also, as well, this is also an act, this is simply the same thing when you say about immigrants and the whole Rwanda scheme. This is a deterrence. This is not going to stop people breaking the law. If people are going to break the law when they have absolutely no other choice to do so, they're going to do it. If some people are going to break the law either way, I honestly don't think this is going to stop people committing crimes. I really don't think so. Do not allow yourself to fail to the rhetoric. If the state jails them, it's the state's responsibility and not some outsourced jail system. Here it would be completely against the Constitution. Yeah, but jail, they don't care about the American Constitution there. And we don't have a Constitution here in the UK. So who's to say, yeah, that this would be that it's not going to be the first time. If America is doing it and Farage is talking about it, we are not going to be the only country, the only right-wing country talking about this kind of idea. Farage's answer is always to make our problem into someone else's problem is the politics of simpleton, says Smith for all. Peach Music says, it's sick in the head thinking going back the way Vim Demir's land springs to mind. The Clacton MP wants to hire another 30,000 police officers, put stop and search in every area where knife crime is prevalent, and implement a zero tolerance policy to shoplifting so every offence, however small, is prosecuted. I mean, like, it all sounds tough. It's just tough rhetoric. This is all tough rhetoric here. This is like, when you hear this kind of stuff, like, people are like, oh, thank God I like this man, because this man's finally going to stop those people stealing in my shop all the time. I really don't buy this, you know. And then, by the way, this is not about stopping the criminals. This is about stopping those who would protest and preach against Farage more. Mr. Farage said he would also free up to 10,000 more prison places by deporting foreign criminals to their country of origin, saying he's always spoken to the Albanian Prime Minister in Rama about this. Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah. So basically, his plan is to basically he's going to deport non-British prisoners out of the country to another country, basically. Again, this is their idea of basically paying another country to take them on. He said he would take back British offenders who are incarcerated overseas. In return, if the countries are still reluctant, we'll make it very straightforward. We'll just end travel. Mr. Farage said he did not say how much the plans would cost or how they would be funded in his speech, which marks the end of a 6-week Lawless Britain's campaign. Yeah, again, like, Farage makes... It's funny how Nigel Farage... Isn't it funny, guys, that, you know, Westminster is on recess, Parliament is gone on holiday, and now Nigel Farage all of a sudden decides to start talking. I'm going to be the centre of attention. It's funny, that. However, our response to questions from the media has said these plans will cost $17.4 billion over a 5-year parliament. He said that the cost of crime is far greater than that, so it really isn't a question of can we afford to do this. It really is a question of we can't not afford to do this.
But you don't know that it's going to work. You don't know that this is going to work. Has this been trialed or tested in other countries? Like, do you have some evidence to back up your claims? Like what evidence do you have to support all this? He insisted he would not have to raise taxes. You're right. He's going to cut taxes for the rich. Saving the money would come from huge cuts to huge parts of public spending, including axing HS2 and net zero policies, and reducing the size of the statute. Oh my God, he does not understand anything. Mr. Farage has claimed his plans are unnecessary because parts of Britain are facing nothing short of a societal collapse due to spiraling crime rates. Yeah, that's because of the language that comes out of your mouth, and people believe it as well. So Keir Starmer has also made half in serious violent crimes one of the missions of his government, but the pledge has come somewhat overshadowed by his controversial early prison release scheme, aiming to free up prison capacity due to overcrowding. Well, let me just put this on the record here. Whether it would have been the Conservatives, whether it would have been Labour who won the last general election, hell, even if Reform by some miracle had won the last general election, they would have all had to do the same bloody thing. Because if they didn't, guys, the criminal justice system would have collapsed. That's with the criminal justice system, the whole system would have collapsed if they hadn't done this. They had no choice. Spokesperson for the Prime Minister said he is already deporting foreign national offenders, adding that Mr. Farage's plans are unfunded and lack detail, and we're getting on with it. Spokesperson ruled out moving prisoners overseas, saying the government is focused on investing in fixing prisoners here. He added that in the last 14 years, we only saw 500 places added to the prison estate, and since then we've been going further up to free up space in our prisons. So yeah, in the last 14 years, only 500 places added. That's just insane, just absolutely insane. Why is not Brexit working? It's the EU's fault. The same narrative over and over again. Yeah, now it's the ECHR's fault. People who supporters of Farage have very, 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 very short-term memory. Shorter than the lack of a goldfish here when it comes to about Brexit. They forget what he says. But no, apparently they know better, guys. Apparently they know better. I mean, like, I just don't approve whatsoever of sending British criminals overseas, no matter how violent and thuggish they are. They are criminals. We should be taking responsibility for them. We should be dealing with them. And then someone's going to say, why not the death penalty? Well, because the death penalty costs a lot of money. It costs a lot of money for the death penalty as well. Like, people think, oh, yeah, some people actually think the death penalty is cheaper than life imprisonment. And my response is that, solitary confinement, life imprisonment, really is probably one of the worst ways you could die. To spend the rest of your life in a cell. Like, that's probably one of the worst ways you could die. Capital punishment is literally like I call it a get out of jail free card, because you end their life and that's it. Like, they don't face any more jail time. They're gone from this world. Whereas for me, I always think being locked up in a cell with the key thrown away, I think that's a much more punishable crime than no matter how heinous their crime is, than it is capital punishment. I just think capital punishment is always a get out of jail free card for people. Anyway, that's what I think. But some people might disagree. Speaking of Farage, he still won't go away, guys. So Reform councillors are obstructed by officials, Farage said. It's just, the thing is, we kind of knew this was coming. And I said this morning for those who weren't here this morning. I said this was going to happen. I said that Nigel Farage was going to start blaming somebody else or pointing the finger elsewhere when it came to Reform councillors. And here he is saying it's not the councillors' fault that they're not good at doing their job. No, it's someone else's fault. Here we are, always blaming someone else. So Nigel Farage has accused some council officials of obstructing the work of Reform UK councillors, and he defended the way the party is running local authorities. Reform had gained control of 10 councils in May's local election in England, but the party's leader told the BBC Sunday with Laura Queensberg programme that in some areas Reform councillors were being hamstrung by existing bureaucracy. Reform has pledged to cut wasteful spending and improve the efficiency of the councils it runs, but some of its spending decisions have faced criticism, while opponents say there's been little concrete action to reduce costs. In Warwickshire, opposition parties have criticised Reform UK for planning to hire political assistants at the cost of up to £190,000 a year, saying the money should be spent on frontline services instead. The council's interim leader, George Flynch, said the move was necessary because council staff have been unable to come up with imaginative ideas to resolve key issues. The 19-year-old was put in charge of the council after Reform previous county leader resigned, citing health reasons. Challenged on whether it was a good use of taxpayer money, Farage told the BBC, at the moment we're finding that we're very, very hamstrung. We're going into existing administrations, we're facing obstructionism in many places. And Warwickshire is a very, very good example. Can you give us examples of these obstructions? Can you give us examples of them? He added, it's better to have staff who support the will of the democratic elected councillors than it is to have public sector staff opposing them. Oh, for feck's sake. I hate this language. I hate this language. I really, really do. To try and... They're there to do a job. And if they're telling you that they can't do something, they can't do it. Because of X, Y, and Z. Warwickshire County Council has been approached for comment. Farage said in some areas reform were working reasonably well with existing administrations, but in others there was generally a deliberate obstructionism. He added that some officials don't want to show us the books and where money is being spent. Yeah, because you guys, yeah, well, what? I think it was the last PMQs or the week before, guys, that that was pointed out that they were looking to cut children's nursery funding in one of the reform councils. Like, these guys do not care. They do not care. It's all rhetoric from them. This is all rhetoric talk from reform. They don't they're not actually gonna. They don't actually even know what they're doing. Reform's UK Department of Government Efficiency, modelled on the cost-cutting initiative set up by US President Donald Trump, previously led by billionaire Elon Musk, was launched in June. The unit is made up of about 15 unelected volunteers. Yeah, because you know what? We can't have unelected volunteers, you know. Having unelected bureaucracies. You know, those kind of people, we shouldn't have had them. We had them in the damn European Union. Isn't that right, Nigel Farage? You know, we wouldn't want them in the UK as well. Oh, right. Oh, okay. So this is different, yeah? This is different, Nigel. Okay, sure. Good evening, Dave McGuinness. Hope you are doing well, guys. Make sure you check out Dave McGuinness' YouTube channel. Link is in the description down below. So the unit is made up of about 15 elected volunteers and run by Ziala Yusuf, who couldn't be bothered to do, who kicked up a fuss when he lost his and quit his job, and then was told to come back because they said so, and he did. Who quit as party chairman in June before returning to Reform to head up Doge days later. Reform says Kent County Council will be first to be audited. But in other areas such as Staffordshire, the council said it's still waiting for the unit to start work. Defending the pace of progress, Farage says, bear in mind we're not the Labour Party, we haven't got hundreds of staff. Oh, okay. I wonder how many years this is going to take. We're a party that's been really active for just over a year. We're growing in size. Yes, we have a Doge team who've not been everywhere yet, but we've seen already us highlighting examples of extravagant expenditure. I generally wonder if they actually find stuff or if they make stuff up to make it sound like that they've got stuff as well. Farage is also challenged over spending decisions in Scarborough, where the town council has approved a 600% increase in the reformed mayor's allowance from £500 to £3,500 a year. Yeah, how did that happen? The mayor's defended the move, saying the allowance helps to cover his expenditures, allowing him to carry out his duties efficiently. Oh, okay. Okay. Farage says he has no idea about the situation in the reform-run council, adding, is he doing it or is she doing it as a full-time job? I have no idea. I'm so glad Nigel Farage has got a grip on everything. So glad Nigel Farage has a grip on everything. You know, they said Nigel Farage would take care of everything. They said, reform voters. I'm so glad he has, you know, he's got his fingers on all the pulses here. What we could do is just get multi-millionaires to stand as candidates everywhere, and indeed our Doge team are doing the work unpaid, he said. If people got the resources, they'd do it for free. That's great. I don't know if the Scarborough Council situation. Just the thing here. I don't know anything about it. The thing is like you are the leader of Reform UK. And it's not that hard to find stories that are bad stories about reform-run council. He knows about this story. He knows what it's about, and he just doesn't want to talk about it. He just doesn't want to talk about it. Any good news for Reform UK, he'll talk about. Any bad news for the UK, he'll deflect. He'll deflect and talk about something else. It's just insane. Mr. E, thank you so much for the £5 super chat. We all have short-term memories. Talk to the parents of old people who knew before the honour we provide, but to respect, listen, and remember and care. Thank you so much for for those words, Mr. E. That's very yes. Talk to the parents of old people who knew before the honour that we can provide, but to respect and listen, and remember and care. Yeah. Yeah, I just wish reform would listen to like there are some reform council areas where they're not jumping the gun and they are actually listening to other parties affiliate, whether it's independent or other party affiliates in certain areas where they are actually paying attention and listen. But there are some areas where they just absolutely don't know what they're doing whatsoever. There's someone who just absolutely don't know what they're doing ever, and of course there's also those who got into a job, realised, oh, I actually have to do work. Oh, I can't just sit on my arse, and then just quit the job because they found out that they actually had to do work, and they weren't getting paid the same amount of money as an MP to sit around on their arse and doing absolutely nothing. But the thing is, not even MPs sit around on their arse doing absolutely nothing. They still do something to a certain extent on it. So Farage should change his name to Mrs. Trump. Yeah, I don't want that thought in my head. Thank you. I really don't want that thought in my head. But too late now. You've already done it. Jowl. Right, I think we need take a little break after hearing so much about Farage. Yeah, that was all too froggy for me, guys. But yeah, let's. I mean, it's not like we got this. It's not like what's the worst thing that's happening right now? It's not like parents right now are going to be terrified of a school break with their kids now, surely, right?
Welcome to Broken News. Panic and terror is spreading across the UK as millions of parents are gearing up to wonder what in shitting crikey they're expected to do for 6 whole weeks. You could say there's panic on the streets of London, panic on the streets of Birmingham. Sorry, I don't know why I did that. Our reporter has more.
Well, despite the precise starting date for the summer holidays being known a good year in advance, once again, parents have been expressing shock at how quickly it's come around. Yes, it's that time of year. The weather forecast for August has turned to dog shit, campsites have upped their prices 4 million%, and for 50 quid a pop, a guy called Pedo Steve is letting 20 kids play with a tennis ball behind an abandoned Quick Fit between 10 AM and 4 PM and calling it PE camp. Now, yes, 1 second, darling. Yeah, I'll be with you in a minute, I promise. Not too long. Well, many mums and dads appear to be flabbergasted by children going from one school year to the next, with one saying to me, can you believe they're going to be in year 4? Which I could believe because they have just been in year 3. Just give me a moment, darling. Yeah, I will. I promise I'll just be a minute. Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you, sweetheart. Yeah. Some parents are lucky, of course. They'll be handing off their little cherubs to the grandparents for 5 of the 6 weeks, then having a nice 5 days in Centre Parks in August because presumably they're millionaires or something. Look, yes, my darling, I will be. Just 1 moment. Okay, we'll go for an ice cream afterwards, I promise you, okay? Yeah? Can you just give it, because I have to work? Okay, thank you, darling. Of course, thankfully, employers are really, really considerate at this time of year, and parents can rely on some Instagram twat to remind them to take time for self-care and for... Yes, okay, darling, please. Yeah, Daddy's got to... I know, yeah, it's a camera. That's a camera, that's a tripod. Yeah? Yeah, okay, I know. Darling, just give me... We'll go and ice cream in a minute. Okay. Okay. Thank you, darling. Thank you, sweetheart. Well, one panicked mum told us, there are only so many meaningless visits to little farms I can do, and I'll still never know the difference between a llama and an alpaca. And please, God, don't make me go to the play park. The kids always want ice creams, and the ice cream van there is selling just 2 ice creams with 2 chewing gums in it for bloody £9 for 2 of them. That is going to get nowhere. One that comes up my street, I want £1, a P or £2. That is going to get nowhere with that. And he only does bloody card. Stood there with my cash. Bloody hell, bloody well bad. Yeah, bet he can hear me. Well, earlier today I spoke to a representative of a campaign group calling for shorter school holidays.
Yeah, it's a really difficult time for many parents at the moment.
How can parents cope?
Well, there are several ways they can... Yeah, darling. Yeah, just working at the moment. Okay, all right, chap. Sorry, there are several things you can do. Perhaps club together and a parent... Yeah, okay, darling, sorry.
Don't worry about it.
It's great. I'll be with you in a second.
Yeah, I just need to speak to the nice man.
Take advantage of any special offers that are going on. Yes, I can see what you're doing. It's a big rocket.
Use your listening ears.
And... I'm sorry, I've totally forgotten what I was saying.
Well, any other tips that you have from the...
Yes, okay. I see it.
No, darling, not on the
Sorry
trousers.
for raising my voice. Daddy, sorry
Just
for raising
please
my
let the
voice.
man
Yeah, Daddy's
talk.
working. He's just said he's working. I'm
just-
working at the
Darling,
moment.
just-
Daddy, sorry for raising
let
his
me talk.
voice. Sorry.
Do you need to poo-poo now?
Well, as you can see from that conversation, it can be quite difficult to find a way through this... Can you just fucking fuck off for a minute? For a minute, huh? Back to you.
Thank you. What a lovely stop. Yeah, okay, darling. With you in a second. Daddy's working. Sorry. Daddy's working. Oh, wow, that is big. Yeah. What a lovely story. That's all from Broken News. You're up to date.
Daddy, I need to poo-poo.
Ah, the blessings of having children. Ah, the blessings of having children. Ah, hope you guys are ready for the 6 weeks of hell. My good God Almighty, how are you going to get through it? Not just that, how am I going to do my walks? You know, the time I normally do my walks, you know, I love going at the time I go for my walks, but you know why? Because it's very quiet, but now they're going to be everywhere. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to do it, guys, but I got to figure out something. Well, my mum used to tell me once to sharpen weight, but then again, mum taught me carpentry and using a knife, an axe, and a bow. Okay. Respect. Ellie, good to see you there. I hope you are doing well. Yes, we are live, just out of curiosity. We're all in this big pot of shite soup together. At least it's warm. Positive, says Mr. I'm feeling a bit negative at the moment, not just on a personal level, but for the country too. Oh, I'm sorry you're feeling that way, Mithril. I hope you feel better soon. I honestly do. My late mum was a primary school teacher. She used to spend the first 4 weeks of the summer holidays preparing lessons for the next year. Mum has always been rather a Prussian, lovely, a lovely mother. So rudeness, says Jow there. Yeah, being a teacher is an incredible. Being a teacher is an extremely difficult job, but the job of being able to pass on your wealth of knowledge and experience onto children is something that no other. It's an extraordinary thing. It's a very stressful job, but you have the opportunity to pass things on of knowledge that you have to others. It's almost a bit like, maybe it sounds a bit coy of me before we go to the next story, but it almost sounds a bit like trying to pass on a bit of yourself to the children in the hopes that a bit of yourself goes with that child to becoming not just as good as you, but better than you as well. Because I don't believe that people become teachers just for the money. I really do. I'd like to think that most people who become teachers do it for the sake of wanting to change people's lives. Education, says Joe. Yeah, education, indeed. We're going to be talking about a very interesting story here from The Independent, actually. Not related to what we've just been talking about. That is right, isn't it? Yeah. I can't actually believe this is a story, but here we go, guys. So, traditional public service media should be more discoverable on YouTube, according to Ofcom. So, Ofcom reports that transmission critical, the future of public service media, has warned that traditional public service TV is endangered. Well, my response is too bad. You know, okay, my news is not as good as mainstream media. Probably I can admit to that. But basically, are you trying to tell YouTube that they should prioritize the BBC, Sky News, ITV, and Channel 4 over other content creators on YouTube? My response to that is fuck off. That is my actual response, because at the end of the day, like, if you want to hold on to the audience that you have, or to grow your audience, you've got to grow it just like any other organization. To say that some of these traditional public service medias should get like favoritism on YouTube in the UK specifically, I think is bullshit. I'm sorry. You know, everyone, like, this is not an easy market to win in. Like, this is a very tough market. This is a very hard market. You know, it's hard enough for me to compete. You know, it's hard enough for me to compete in this market, let alone some of these medias. And also, just for reference, all of them have got YouTube channels. All of them have got at least, like, what, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million YouTube subscribers already on their channel. And they already average about, what, 1,000 to 10,000 or more viewers on their videos anyway. Like, what more favoritism do they need? Like, I just think this is just bullshit. Like, I'm sorry, but, like, they already have a platform on YouTube anyway. They've got all their social media connections, just like other, like, content creators out there, and they're already well established. So saying it should be more discoverable on YouTube, I think this is just completely wrong whatsoever. And it also hurts creators like myself as well, young small creator YouTube channels like myself. We're trying to make it on our own as well. It hurts us if they were to do that. So they claim that traditional public service media is under threat and needs to be more discovered on popular video sharing platforms like YouTube, regulatory body Ofcom has said. Its report, Transmission Critical, the Future of Public Service Media, says the government should bring forward legislation to help ensure that PSM content is prominent and easy to find on the platforms and on fair commercial terms. No, this is favoritism. I'm sorry, but this is just favoritism. I don't accept this. The Regulator and Compensation Authority has already made a number of recommendations in its actions that plans seeking urgent clarity from the government on how TV will be distributed to reach audiences in the future. Group Director of Broadcasting and Media Ofcom, Christina, told PA News Agency, "We've called it the report Transmission Critical because we think public service media is under real threat. Broadcasters are experiencing quite tough financial challenges, the business model with audiences fracturing everywhere." Like, yeah, less people, like, the thing is, what they don't seem to understand here is that, you know, the reality is that people don't, a lot of people sit on the TV watching TV anymore. They'll look on their computer or look on their devices for the news now, or doom scroll on TikTok or Twitter or something like that. Like, you can't like that. The days of a family behind the TV screen are over. You know, there's very, very few families that do that now. It's just the direction that people are going in. You know, your phone, your device in the power, like this right here, this is the future right here. Like, everything in your palm of your hands. That's what it is. It's the palm of your hands. And yes, guys, you did see your live chat on the phone there. So yeah, I can see what you guys are saying. So according to research from Barb, which is responsible for calculating UK's TV official viewing figures, viewing on the linear channels have fallen significantly in recent years, and this decline is expected to continue. The report says that public service broadcasters, PSB, will have to work much harder to create content that audiences want to watch on platforms like YouTube, as they are competing with every other content creator in the world. Mr. Nikolai Squires has said, "We're not saying they have to go on YouTube, but we're saying that public service broadcasters have got to make great content where audiences are, and audiences are increasingly going onto YouTube." Yeah, but the thing is, I'm already saying this, like, literally, Channel 4 already has a YouTube channel. The BBC already has a YouTube channel. Sky News has already a YouTube channel. Hell, GB News has a YouTube channel. Like, they already have the channels there. They already have the channels there. So I don't understand what this is like. I don't understand why they're saying about they need to be more aware on platforms like YouTube. And I'm like, no, they already have the audiences. They already have the subscribers. They can literally create revenue from them. It just pisses me off. This really does. Okay, outside of YouTube, I'm not speaking for them because but here it's just like they all have different deals with YouTube in terms of commercial returns, and that's down to them. But I just think it's important that the programs that they are making, public service programs, are available where people are. So just to live in the linear channels, obviously we're seeing that viewing has fallen significantly in those areas. So it's a question of, as I said, pretty much putting these great programs where people are watching them. A key objective of the Media Act passed in 2024 was to make it easier to find content on PSB like the BBC, ITV, Channel 4 or Smart TV. Mr. Nikolai Squires said Ofcom is now calling for the logical steps on a video sharing platform. She added it might require some further legislative changes to regulation. We started the conversation rather than finalising it all. The report said that stable and adequate funding is needed from the government and emphasised that discoverability on online platform is particularly important for news and children's content. Like, the thing is, like, I want to just make this very, very clear as well. I don't mind if the content is, like, if you're trying to push, like, UK audiences to more UK content, because that's supposed to be making logical sense. But what I don't want is these mainstream media platforms being given favoritism by YouTube because the government wants them to. It's not fair on content creators like myself and others out there. That's the thing that I find frustrating with this. It also recommends that online platforms invest in media literacy skills while forging ambitious strategic partnerships that can compete with global streaming platforms. On top of this, Ofcom is launching a review of its regulation of broadcast TV and radio that will seek inputs from stakeholders about the priority areas for reforming regulation. Sarah Rose, president of Channel 5, said we're pleased that Ofcom's reviews highlight the challenges producing specialist children content and called for commercially viable funding models among its recommendations. Channel 5's Milkshake continues to navigate those challenges to remain the only public service broadcaster offering a daily programming block which targets preschoolers with original content rooted in the UK's Early Years Foundation framework. Oh, I've never even heard of it, but that's because I don't. I have to ask my partner about that. She might know better than me. Spokesperson for the Department of Culture, Media and Sports said, we welcome Ofcom's Public Service Media Review and we will now consider its recommendations. YouTube has been approached for comment. Yeah, look, I just don't want, like, I don't like this language here of being more discoverable on YouTube, because for me, they are already established on YouTube, like other platforms, and they should not get peripheral treatment just because they've been the norm for a long time. We are not at this point where everything that they're dead, that these news sites are dead, because they're not. I use a streaming service for about 15 years. I have used a VPN though, says Mithril. Yeah, people use VPNs all the time. The channel of the Portuguese public TV is RPG. They have a show archive, one for Portuguese speaking African, one international channel, regional channels. Who needs YouTube? They are there too. The thing is but the reason why I think they're having this conversation. Now, obviously, you're speaking from Portugal, Jao, but I can't speak for other nations. People from other countries can speak for themselves. Now, obviously, more people are getting, like, the traditional media is, I've said this before about traditional media is not trustworthy, has become much trustworthy because it doesn't always give reliable and accurate information. And that's why people turn to Twitter, turn to Facebook, they turn to YouTube for their source of information, because they don't find the mainstream media being accurate, honest, accurate and clear with some of the information that they give. Witchigoff, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. If someone could put a link to Witchigoff's YouTube channel, it'd be greatly appreciated. And by the way, that was I didn't respond to it, but I did see that community post of that one-eyed cat that you shared, Witchy. Lovely, lovely cat. Needed that distraction. Like here in the UK, more and more people are turning to online content for their news and sources here, rather than they're relying on the BBC, Sky News and whatnot. But as you guys know, as part of my how I work, most of my content comes from BBC, Guardian, Sky, from the mainstream media networks. That's where I get the majority of my news from. Unless sometimes, obviously, when I use Twitter, I would get from different sources. But that's where a lot of the main news I get it from the more reliable media outlets. But it's about for me, it's about them being able. They have to adapt, but the government should not be helping them adapt. The only one the government should be helping to adapt is the British Broadcasting Corporation, because the BBC is a publicly owned broadcaster. That's the only one they should be helping out with. The rest of them, they're private companies. They can deal with. They've got money. They can deal with it on their own. The BBC should be the one looked at, in my opinion. A new generation had the OV TV fully understand the ending of my Monty Python and the Holy Grail, says Mithril. What I can say is that the media in Europe is adapting to the new realities of online world. Yeah, well, the same. We need to do that too. But what I don't want is peripheral treatment. I'm not in favour of any kind of peripheral treatment, which is what it sounds like to me to a certain extent here. And I don't like that at all. So, interesting piece here from the Financial Times here, guys. So the European Union will make the UK pay to join the €150 billion defence fund, according to the Financial Times here. The boost to British businesses from contracts won through SAFE project will require London to make financial contribution, diplomats say. Now, am I surprised that about this? No. But can I see the right wing using this as an excuse for us to stay away from the EU? Yes. Because anything that's any kind of establishing relationship with the EU, nothing is free. We have to give a little something and give a little bit of here and there. The fact that I'm pretty sure this is not 150 billion euros up close. This will be over installments. I believe we are still paying for leaving the European Union already. I don't know if we fully paid it off yet, but even so, the fact that we have to pay for a defensive fund working in tandem with them, this is the price we pay for not being a part of the European Union. So, you know, sovereignty, right? But we wanted sovereignty, of course, and that's gone really well for us. You should pick up the tab on this, Boris Johnson. So Britain will have to pay the EU a percentage of the value of any weapons bought from UK companies via Brussels-led defensive fund, under plans being drawn up by the blog to counter the growing threat from Russia. So the Prime Minister Keir Starmer said in May that the UK would join the EU's new €150 billion Security Action for Europe, that's SAFE, project to boost military spending across the continent as part of a reset of bilateral relations. Participating in the SAFE. Why is this? Hold on a second. Can you stop turning off, please? Don't know why Twitch keeps turning off here. Of bilateral relations. Participating in SAFE would provide new opportunities to our defence ministry, supporting British jobs and livelihoods, Starmer said. Listen, I'm all in agreement for this. And I think anyone who has a problem with this is a moron. It makes sense for us to work with our closest neighbours and rivals, and especially from a defensive point of view that protects us and protects them, as well as intelligence sharing as well. But London will be required to recompensate Brussels for being allowed to take part in the EU-backed scheme aimed at procuring drones, defence missile systems and other capabilities to EU diplomats, told the Financial Times. What was written in the SAFE regulation is that there shall be a fair balance as regards to the contributions and the benefits, and outside countries such as the UK, said one of those diplomats. The SAFE fund is part of an effort by the blog to mobilise €800 billion in new defence spending by 2030 in the face of a growing threat from Russia, and called by US President Donald Trump for Europe to pay for more of its own security. So launched in May, its loans will allow member states and designated third countries such as the UK to engage in joint procurement. The scheme is designed to leverage the EU's credit strength to increase overall defensive spending while better unifying Europe's armed forces, which are saddled by inefficiency and duplicate procurement processes. The exact figure that Britain will have to pay to access the funds is still under discussion by the member states as they finalise their position on the deal with the UK, which is expected to be published this week. But diplomats said that since British businesses would receive EU money to create jobs and expand capacity under the scheme, London should compensate Brussels. If UK companies won contracts funded by SAFE money, the UK government must pay a percentage into the funds to help balance out the economic benefits of the contract, the diplomat added. The same mechanism will apply to Canada and any other countries that want their industries to access the money, they noted. In order for the UK defence project to qualify, the value of their components from the members of SAFE must be at least 65%. Members include the EU, Ukraine, Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, Switzerland, and any third countries that join. Senior UK officials have said that France was driving a hard bargain in talks with other member states to agree to an EU negotiating mandate this week, as one describes the situation as tricky. Mujaba Rahman, Managing Director of Europe at the Eras Group Consultancy said both London and Brussels need to keep the big picture in mind. It is really important that both sides don't allow political national interest to get in the way of the bigger prize, which is strengthening collective Europe's defence in light of the threats posed by Putin's Russia, he said. France, which views SAFE as a way to expand the EU's arms industry, is pushing for high UK contributions. While other countries led by Germany want to ensure that the UK is not disillusioned from joining, a third diplomat said. Under the EU terms, countries must bid for the loans by July 29th with a maximum pot of 150 billion. They would then join another SAFE member to buy weapons, aiming to lower the price by pulling demand. The UK would have to use national money to join such projects. Third countries other than those included by default, such as Ukraine, must first sign a security and defensive partnership with the EU and then a specific agreement to join SAFE. Britain signed the first of these at the Reset Summit in London in May and will negotiate a second one in the EU that has agreed its mandate. Time is tight because projects must be submitted by the end of November, with the European Commission, the EU's executive, deciding which to approve. Thomas Reganelite, Commission Defence spokesperson, said the EU-UK Accord in May meant UK-based entities could provide up to 35% of the value of a defensive product procured through SAFE. And to obtain bigger shares will require an agreement with the EU on precise modalities on aspects such as budget contributions and the security of supplies, he added. The Cabinet Office said it would not preempt discussions with the EU. Of course not. Quote, in all of our interests are for the UK and the EU to bring together our unique capabilities to expertise to make Europe a safer, more secure and more prosperous place, it added. Now, if any of you thought that this scheme, that this sounds like, like this is a terrible thing, which I know pretty much most of you are pretty much in favour of it, like we need to be a part of this scheme. It makes sense for us. I don't like that we're already spending so much goddamn money already on defence. It does frustrate me. It really, really does. But we do need to spend our part on it. Despite the fact that obviously we have cut our foreign aid, which again I don't approve whatsoever of it. It makes sense for us to be a part of this. Now, obviously, it would make more logical sense if we were a part of the European Union and part of the single market, but that's not what we're in. Jao says, we're in the EU, pay our fees in our contributions to the common budget. The UK will pay its fair share too. Yeah, of course. Of course the UK's got to pay its fair share, and that's what this is. But the way this is obviously headlined, if you look at the headline, it makes it sound like the UK is being forced against its will here, and it's just like, no, you can't be on the outside and expect to get money from the pot and not contribute to it yourself. No, you have to contribute to the pot as well. So this would have to happen as part of the club fees that need to be paid. Yeah, of course it is. Private channels here also have one concert that they pay for, no funding from the state. Yeah. Elite couldn't get peace to tune into. I had a visit from my consultant for meds, etc. Drag me on. Mr. Chat in the morning says Pete Music. Oh, I hope you're doing well, Pete. I hope you're okay. Oh, by the way, guys, I should actually remind you guys before we go to the next story. Tomorrow tomorrow will be the first time that I donate blood. Well, if I'm allowed to. I've checked that I'm qualified to. I need to check one more time if I'm tomorrow morning if I'm still qualified to. But I've been told that I need to eat and drink plenty before doing it. So my appointment is around about 3:15 tomorrow. So I don't know if I'm still going to be doing the live stream at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, the normal one. So I may overlap geoscopes. So I may end up moving it an hour forward possibly. So don't be surprised if I move the live stream an hour forward, or I might even move the live stream to like really late at night as well, to like 9:30 possibly as well, to avoid Max's live stream or something, because I still want to do the live stream. I just don't know how I'm going to be after it as well. Like, I might feel a bit dizzy and woozy, so there is a possibility that I may not even do the live stream, because obviously I don't know how I'm going to react. At the moment, I'm scheduled to do the Snowflake Corner at 6 o'clock, but obviously I don't know what it's going to be like after I do it. What I'm going to be like. I imagine I'm going to be very tired after donating blood. I imagine that's going to be the case. So we'll see how it goes anyway, guys. But I just wanted to let you guys know that it's not that tomorrow's live stream may not go ahead, may not. I'm actually contemplating perhaps moving it to 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah, I might move it. I might move it to a lunchtime live stream or something like that, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, guys. We'll see. Anyways, let's move on to our last story, guys. Very interesting one. That's been a lot of it's been talked about as well, guys. So this is Byline Times. Palestine campaign group said it has been debanked by Virgin Money with a £10,000 trapped. This exclusive says the Greater Manchester Friends of Palestine said their account was frozen without explanation days after Palestine action was prescribed, preventing aid donations from reaching Gaza. Unfortunately, this is... Can I say I'm surprised by this? Can I really say that I'm surprised by this? No. Do I think it's right? Absolutely not. I think it's outrageous and ridiculous. And it's the way this is all being done, the way this is all being handled is so infuriating. I really despise the Home Secretary for her decision to do this. I despise the Home Office decision to prescribe the group as terrorists. I don't agree with it at all. I think it's wrong, but at the end of the day, it is enshrined in law now. I can only hope that some time in the future it gets overturned. I don't know if it ever will, but it's really, really disheartening, to say the least, to see. And I've heard stories of people already being rounded up as have been arrested based off it as well. It's just outrageous. It is just so outrageous what the Labour government have done here, and it's all because of Israel. It's all because Israel Friends of Labour. It's all because of the Israeli lobbyists who have put money on the side for all the Labour ministers. It's because of that we have this situation now where you are getting more and more diluted of people who are protesting on behalf of different groups and factions out there who are protesting because they want to free because of what's happening in the Middle East, and they're now being treated indifferently because of what's happened to Palestine action now. I'm very cautious about how I'm saying these things, guys, as you can understand. But yeah, it's absolutely terrible. I mean, this here. Elderly lady, pro-Palestinian protester arrested in Manchester 2 days ago. So a group campaigning, raising money for the Palestinians, say they have had their bank account frozen by Virgin Money, with over 10,000 in funds trapped. Much of that was destined to aid to Gaza. So Greater Manchester Friends of Palestine said the bank, which is now owned by Nationwide, has provided absolutely no explanation for the freeze despite 40 years of banking without problems, and is refusing to answer any questions about the decision. The freeze occurred in the days after a separate organisation, the Direct Action Group Palestine Action, was banned as a terrorist organisation by the Labour government. On the 10th of July 2025, Treasurer John Nicholson discovered their internet banking access had been completely blocked. A ban on Palestine Action came into effect on the 4th of July. Unlike bank account closures which require 2 months' notice to customers, GM Friends of Palestine said the freeze gives them no access to funds and no way to make representation. The group says the bank has refused to provide any reason for the freeze, with staff allegedly stating, "I can tell you nothing," hanging up on inquiries with no process for appeal or further discussion. In a letter to Nationwide, Treasurer John Nicholson White, I pointed out that it was not that they could not tell me anything, it was that they did not want to do so they put the phone down on me. This is absolutely outrageous. Like, they're freezing assets from them. They have a right to know. That's their money. They have a right to know why you're holding the money. This is out of order, completely out of order what's happening here. It is our opinion that the bank is now complicit in the genocide they're claiming. Holding on to our money seemingly indefinitely, there is no determination at the time that they will do so, amounts to permanently depriving us of what is ours. That is theft. He added, we can all see a state increasingly frightened, even in the middle and the mildest criticisms, and they appear to be attempting to close down all protests through all means of their disposal. Nicholson told Byline Times, "We know absolutely nothing. Now, what do you want me to guess? That this is about an organisation that we're not allowed to name, was banned ridiculously, shamefully, pitifully by the useless Home Secretary, and guess what? Palestine-related accounts around the country are being threatened. This isn't my money. It's hundreds of individuals or donors and supporters who are putting small amounts of money into our banks, which are then using in small ways to help non-governmental organisations on the ground in Gaza and the West Bank. The Palestine campaigner said, "We've been effectively debanked." Reforms that Nigel Farage made front page news for weeks when he lost access to his elite's calls account in 2023. The Conservative government then brought the rules changes for banks to making it harder for closed customers' accounts. The rule comes into force in April next year. It's funny that, isn't it? Funny how when it's Nigel Farage, it's obviously front page news, but when it's not, when it's something else, it's different. Greater Manchester Friends of Palestine have been using donations to support Palestine NGOs, including Middle East Children's Alliance, Palestinian Doctors, and the Palestine Amputee Football Association, which provide sports facilities to disabled Palestinians. Over the past 18 months, GM Friends of Palestine said it has distributed approximately £30,000 worth of aid to Palestinian groups in Gaza and the West Bank. The frozen funds represent small donations from hundreds of individual supporters. Treasurer John Nicholson claims it is part of a wider pattern affecting Palestinian-related accounts across the country. Nicholson argues that the bank account amounts to complicity with genocide by preventing aid from reaching Palestinians, comparing it to Israel blocking UN trucks entering Gaza. GM Friends of Palestine have written to its supporters saying, "We have organised over 100 demonstrations through the Centre of Soul for the Manchester in the last year and a half. We have publicised boycott actions to support the closure of Israeli armed firms and their linked companies. We have raised money for people in both Gaza and the West Bank, and we want to continue to be able to do so." If they've been putting the phone down on them, what they should be doing is going into the building societies. They should be going into the building societies and asking the questions and applying pressure there, because they can't run away from their job if they're in there. They should be going into the building societies and asking the questions if they're not going to answer via phone. They should be going into the banks and asking directly, saying, "Hey, what have you done with our money? Like, we demand to know." Like, because they demand, because they have a right to know. I wonder if they can take legal action as well. Is it possible they could take legal action as well? Because they haven't been given an explanation as well. I don't know if that's possible. Martin, good to see you there. I hope you're doing well. Quote, "They won't even agree to pass what's in the account back to us and close the account. They just say now they'll be in touch when things change." What things? A ceasefire maybe, or freedom of justice for Palestine? People need the support now. Campaigning needs carrying out even more than ever. The group is seeking alternative banking options. In the meantime, volunteers are collecting cash in buckets in the city. Spokesperson for Virgin Money said, "We are unable to comment on individual customer accounts, and there are a variety of reasons why we may decide or be required to suspend or close an account in order to comply with applicable laws and regulations." But you're not following the laws here. You're not following the laws here. You're not giving an explanation. This isn't the prescribed group. This is a different organisation here with money that's actually going to causes that are helping people, and you're not giving an explanation to the groups by right of why they're not being allowed here. This is against the laws in of itself, because you're supposed to give them notice. Like, this is not the same group that has been proscribed as a terrorist group. Yeah, this is how UK papers coverage the Farage debanking on July 27th, 2023 via Politico. These were the front pages when Nigel Farage is here. Why Britain can't stop talking about Nigel Farage inheritance tax. Yeah. Today's front page is nothing. Yeah. Today's news pages via Politico. Nothing. Nothing at all. Yeah, I'll just show you one more time. Yeah. It's just absolutely ridiculous. They're all front page, most of them, about it. But yeah, absolutely ridiculous. This is not the same group. This is a campaign group. It's a different group as well. But yeah, this is the start of. This is the start of. This is the official starting of silencing people's support for Palestine, if not already. Again, like I just got to be careful what I say, guys, because like here's the thing: I really do care about this channel. Like I say, I'm gonna care about it on the Discord, and I know it infuriates. It's infuriating. I get it, and I know how people feel about it, and I'm frustrated too. I really, really am frustrated about all this, and it's not right because everybody knows what's happening. Everybody can see what is happening, and and it's so disheartening to know that we have a government that clearly is not, both political parties are not in the same, and are nowhere near on the same level as how we feel about what's happening in Gaza. They have not, they really do not understand that. They're really completely disconnected with the public on how they feel about what's happening, and it just goes against our morals and our values as human beings to support the Israeli government because of what they are doing. It just goes against our values as human beings. It's immoral what's happening there, and I just wish more could be done, guys. But unfortunately, that's just nothing we can do. Everything all over. One that tiny time media will decide what we see. Look closer with human connections as we still do can. Yeah, I mean the big thing that the West may, my biggest fear is what the West may do in the future is try to suppress the internet, and I think that will be the big nail in the coffin when it comes to freedoms, because as long as we have the internet, and at the moment it's not really suppressed it's not suppressed. It's a wild west right now. The internet is still a wild west to me, but if that ever gets controlled, or forces people to think and read a certain way, that's when our freedoms are literally taken from us. That's the biggest fear there, guys. But guys, we've come to the end of the live stream, but we've got one more video to see ourselves out, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this funny video from Matt Green. It's been a while since I played a Matt Green video, but I hope you guys get a laugh out of this though, because it's been a while since we've heard from Matt Green here on this channel, but I hope you guys enjoy it nonetheless, because we kind of need a little bit of laughter to see ourselves out. That is for sure, guys.
I mean, listen, 16-year-olds can already vote in the next election because they'll be 18 by then. So you're not keen on the government's plans to reduce the voting age to 16? No, and actually, I don't see why children should want the vote. The best thing about an election when you're a kid is you get to have the day off. Why should they want to go back into a school? Yes, but... And anyway, why stop there? Why not have votes at 14 or 10 or 4? Have a whole cohort of voters who'll only vote for the party with their favourite colour, or who've earned the endorsement of Paw Patrol. Well, children are an important part of our population. Maybe they should have more of a voice. I'd like to hear you say that to a parent. Children have a voice on everything these days. I mean, they eat what they want, wear what they want, go where they want. Half the pubs around here are full of prams. If you want to get away from children these days, you've got to go to a strip club, which I believe was your excuse at the time. My point is, children get their own way everywhere else. Leave politics to the grown-ups. Well, some might say that the grown-ups haven't done a great job of it in recent years. Well, that's because it's hard work. Do you really think introducing a bunch of spotty teenagers will improve things? We're only talking about voting, not making them MPs. Yes, but it's a slippery slope. I mean, look at Reform. They've got an 18-year-old in charge of a council somewhere. 18 years old! It's ridiculous. I mean, the closest a council should get to teenagers is when they put up one of those speakers to stop them loitering. A mosquito. That's the one, emits a high-pitched whine that's offensive to the ears of anyone who can hear it. That sounds a bit like my kids, actually. Not that they speak to me anymore. So you won't be trying to attract teenagers, then? How dare you? I was never on that list. No, I just... Oh, sorry, you mean politically? Well, no, I didn't necessarily say that, but, I mean, do teenagers want the vote? I saw a poll today that shows that nearly half of teenagers don't. Well, yes, but before women's suffrage, many women were against it. And maybe we should have listened. What? Nothing. The point is that Labour are only doing this because they think that teenagers will vote for them. And do you think they're right? Not necessarily. We've got a lot to offer the young. Such as? Free TikTok? It's already free. We'll make sure their grandparents are happy? That's not really for young people, though, is it? Have you got anything they might like? Tamagotchis? Pogs? Yo-yos? Olivia Rodrigo? Alco Pops? Ketamine? I mean, help me out here. What do young people want? Hope? Right. Yeah, I think we might stick to old people. Thank you. Next up, as Donald Trump tells Coca-Cola to change the type of sugar it uses in its drinks, we ask, who exactly does he think he is? King of the world or something? No, seriously, does he think he's king of the world? We ask a psychiatrist.
Yeah, I know. How dare he try to change Coca-Cola? Who the hell does he think he is? Blimmin' disgrace. It's an absolute blimmin' disgrace, I tell ya. Oh dear, guys. Dear, oh dear. So guys, I just want to run down a couple of things before I head out. Just one or two quickly things. I'll be back tomorrow morning with another Good Morning Show. So if you guys want to join me for that, feel free to do so. As for the Snowflake Corner, I don't know if it's still going to go ahead or not. It depends how the blood donation goes, or if I even have the blood donation. I'm still going to leave it at 6 o'clock, and we'll just see how things go. That's it there, guys. So we'll see how it goes. It's the best thing. But I've been told I need to eat and drink plenty beforehand. So we'll see there. But yeah, I do want to still do the show at 6 o'clock, but it all depends. It all depends, guys. So. But if not, then obviously, but I'll still be here tomorrow morning for the Good Morning Show. So you guys can join me for that. Feel free to do so. But I want to say thank you guys for all coming along. Thank you, Mr. E, for the £5 super chat today. I really appreciate it. Any super chats or gifted memberships or any kind of stuff for that really does make really does make a massive difference, guys, because this is my main source of income here on YouTube. So anyone who does any of that is really appreciated. Obviously, I know not everybody can financially support, which is totally understandable because not everybody is in the best of states. So my position to that, what I'd like to say for those who can't financially support, best way to support me is hitting that like button, sharing across social media. If you're not subscribed already, consider subscribing. And just sharing it across social media, across other social media platforms does make a big difference, guys. That's the best way you can support me, and watching my videos and leaving comments. All that stuff helps boost the algorithm. So that's the ways you guys can support me if you can't financially support me there, guys. So I just want to make that very clear for those who are struggling. So don't feel bad if you can't support. I just want to make that clear. But thank you guys all for coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you guys for being here. Enjoy the rest of your Monday evenings, whatever you guys are doing. But I am done for tonight. But yeah. Ollie. But before we go, of course, Ollie's here. Pingu is here as well. The gang are all here. The lava lamp has been formed as well. Just for reference as well there. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.